Hello students, I welcome you all to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. P. A. Rajeshwari, Assistant Professor in the Department of Food Science and Nutrition, Avinashlingam Institute for Home Science and Higher Education for Women, Coimbatore. Today we are going to discuss about the topic toxic factors in pulses. The word pulses are name given to fruits or seeds of pod-bearing leguminous plants. Pulses have been a part of our diet since the dawn of civilization. They are being consumed with staple food which is low in protein due to their high protein content as part of the diet mostly in developing countries. They contain 50 to 60% carbohydrates, 18 to 25% protein, good amounts of calcium, phosphorus, iron and other B complex vitamins. They are poor sources of carotene and vitamin C but high in fiber. Though composition of pulses adds to the positive nutritional value, they also harbor some toxic factors. These factors are compounds or substances which act to reduce the nutrient intake, digestion, absorption and even utilization and may produce other adverse effects. These factors can also cause toxic effects by interference with the functioning and utilization of nutrients, causing various nutritional deficiencies. They can interfere with food components before intake, during digestion and even after absorption in the body, thus increasing the necessity to gain knowledge about these toxic factors present in pulses. This module is designed to serve the purpose. Let us now move on to the objectives of this module. The material has been designed to provide knowledge on the various toxic factors in pulses, effects of the toxic factors on humans, and the ways to neutralize their effects. Some pulses contain chemical constituents having toxic substances in them. Let us now see the various toxins present in pulses in detail. Trypsin inhibitors. They are present in red gram, Bengal gram, cowpea, double beans, soya beans and peas. Trypsin inhibitors are proteins that inhibit the activity of trypsin in the gut and interfere with digestibility of dietary proteins that reduce their utilization. Pancreas enlargement and growth retardation occur in animals that consume diet containing trypsin inhibitors. The release of essential amino acids, particularly methionine, is hampered by the presence of inhibitors. They are generally heat liable and most heat treatment like pressure cooking destroys them. Autoclaving at 120 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 minutes inactivates almost all type of trypsin inhibitors. Trypsin inhibitors are easily inactivated from dolls, but more drastic heat treatment is necessary to inactivate trypsin inhibitors of soya bean and kidney bean. These trypsin inhibitors prevent degradation of storage proteins during seed maturation. Next, we will see about antiproteins or protease inhibitors. These are protein substances that inhibit proteolytic enzymes by binding to their active sites. The active trypsin and chymotrypsin in the pancreas binds with protease inhibitors in small intestine and are removed through excretion, thus disturbing the process of digestion of proteins. Trypsin inhibitors or protease inhibitors that reduce the activity of trypsin, which plays a major role in digestion of proteins. These trypsin inhibitors are present in soya beans, kidney beans, limca beans, egg, etc. When consumed over a long duration, it causes enlargement of pancreas and growth retardation. Its concentrations are 2.2 to 2% in pulses. But these are heat liable, hence autoclaving at 120 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 minutes or boiling at 100 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 minutes inactivates the trypsin inhibitors. Soaking for 12 to 24 hours before heating is found to be the most effective method of reducing the content of protease inhibitors. Next we will see about amylase inhibitors. Amylase inhibitors slows down the process of digestion of starch, thereby altering the blood sugar and insulin levels. Hence they are used in therapeutically treating diabetes mellitus. Next comes lecithin or hemagglutinin. Lentils can bound with sugar group. They have specific binding sites for carbohydrates, hence most of them are glycoprotein or proteins. Lecithin activity has been found in nearly 600 genus of legume family. The main action of lecithin is its ability to bind to the brush border segment in distal duct of small intestine, causing damage to small intestinal villi and disturbance in metabolism of small intestine. The bond with intestinal wall shows variation based on the sugar present. They are found in peanuts, soybeans, etc. The hemagglutinin have an affinity to bind with heme and make it unavailable. Lecithins possess some other interesting chemical and biological properties, some of which are as follows. They interact with specific blood groups, they perform various functions in mitotic division, demolish cancerous cells, and have toxic effects in some animals. The toxic factors are removed by heat treatment. Some lecithins are heat resistant and can even survive during improper or low heat cooking. The hemagglutinin present in some seeds have been purified. Perhaps the most familiar of the hemagglutinin is the highly toxic protein which is found in castor seeds. Because of its extreme toxicity, castor bean meal must be thoroughly detoxified by heat treatment. Hemagglutinin present in other legume seeds possess toxic properties as they depress the food intake and growth and may even lead to death of animals. Most of these, however, are heat liable and lose their deadly effects as a result of heat treatment. Next comes phytic acid or phytoids. It is the hexophosphoric ester of inositol. Phytic acid decreases the bioavailability of essential minerals, especially iron, calcium, and turn into insoluble compounds whose absorption is less in the intestine. There are iron binding enzymes secreted in the stomach which form complex with iron and acts as carrier of iron during absorption. Phytic acid prevents complex formation, decreasing the iron absorption. In case of calcium, phytic acid activity is enhanced in low levels of vitamin D, decreasing calcium absorption. Phytic acid is present in soybeans, broad beans, etc. 80% of the total phosphorus in pulses is from phytic acid. When not utilized, it is excreted. Thus, hydrolysis becomes important. Hence, besides processing techniques such as soaking, germination, cooking and autoclaving, food rich in vegetable endogen phytosis enzyme are also used to demolish phytic acid. Recent studies have shown that the role of phytoids in reducing cholesterol, protection against colon cancer, acting as antioxidants by reducing lipid peroxidation. Next comes oxalic acid. These are strong acids and acts as anti-nutrient factor, mainly as anti-mineral factor. It is found to be toxic to human in concentration above 4 to 5 grams. It interferes with calcium absorption in the gut. The oxalic acid and calcium ratio of food determines the oxalic acid activity. Any value above 1 indicates high oxalate, decreasing calcium absorption. These are present in field beans, soya beans, etc. Phenol compounds. Phenol compounds constitute plants as protection mechanism against external factors. They are also known as tannins. They are heterogeneous group of substances of plant origin. There are two types, namely partly hydrolyzable tannins and condensed tannins. Hydrolyzable tannins are acid esters of glucose or cunic acid, which causes acute liver injury, liver necrosis and fatty liver. Condensed tannins are mostly flavonoids which are responsible for pungent taste. They reduce bioavailability of some minerals such as zinc. Some tannins are stable when exposed to heat. They affect pH mechanism, reduce protein digestion. Red beans, chickpeas and peanuts have a notable amount of tannins in them. Next we will see about saponins. Saponins are heterogeneous group of glycoside derivatives. Their characteristics are as follows. Bitter taste, produce foam with some solutions and cause hemolysis in red blood cells. They are present in kidney bean, chickpea, soybean, groundnut and sunflower. Saponins can affect the metabolism in many phases such as erythrocyte hemolysis, reduction of blood and liver cholesterol, depression of growth rate. Saponin content in pulses can be reduced by sprouting and roasting. Next we will see about tannins. Tannins are phenolic binding compounds with a high amount of presence in seed coat of most legumes. It binds with iron irreversibly and disturbs the iron absorption. It also interferes with digestive action of trypsin and alpha amylase, which tends the dietary protein and carbohydrates indigestible. Tannins also bind protein and minimize their availability. Removal of seed coat of legumes reduces the tannin content. Removal of husk lowers tannin content and thus improves the appearance, texture, cooking quality, palatability and digestibility of the grain and increases the bioavailability of nutrients. White coat beans have very low quantity of tannins, whereas black gram and soya bean have higher content of tannins. Red kidney beans, black gram and soya bean have higher amount of polyphenolic compounds. Next we will see about cyanogenic glycosides. Cyanogen present in plants is of two types, namely cyanogen glycosides and cyanogen lipids. Both groups contain cyanohydridins and free carbonyl group. Cyanogenic glycosides from which hydrogen cyanide may be released by hydrolysis. Hydrogen cyanide is found to be potentially toxic, causing dysfunction of the central nervous system, respiratory failure and cardiac arrest in animals. During hydrolysis, the glycosides hydrolysis to form hydrogen cyanide, which is involatile and is lost as vapor. Since it is liberated before cooking, it is considered to be safe to discard the soaking water. Some foods containing toxic levels of cyanogenic glycosides are limca beans and cassava. Acute poisoning due to consumption of cassava roots have been occasionally reported from Africa. Serious outbreak of poisoning due to consumption of limca beans have been reported in Burma, India and also even in European countries. Poisoning in cattle due to consumption of fodder sorghum, cassava leaves and linseed meals have also been reported. Limca beans yields 210 to 312 milligrams of hydrogen cyanide per 100 grams. Linseed meal yields 53 milligrams of hydrogen cyanide per 100 grams. Another important toxin present in pulses is vicin and covicin, which constitutes together called favism factors. Broad beans contain vicin and covicin, also called favism factor, causing a disease called favism. Favism is hereditary disorder involving an allergic reaction to the consumption of broad beans. This condition is related to glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiencies mostly seen in Mediterranean population. It is due to X-linked recessive inborn error of metabolism that causes hemolysis resulting in jaundice. In favism, structure of hemoglobin is disordered, dizziness, vomiting, feeling of tiredness and dark orange urine are the symptoms. In extreme cases, it is treated by blood transfusion. This disease is mostly manageable, but incidence of death may be encountered when the disease is prolonged. Let us now see about the various causes of favism. Favism is due to X-linked pattern of inheritance. All mutants are found on long arm of the X chromosome. This condition is found more in male than in female. Males have XY chromosomes, hence when X chromosome is affected, there is glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency. In case of females, since they possess XX chromosome, if one X chromosome is affected, they show the deficiency of enzyme in approximately half of their red blood cells. However, in rare cases, including double X deficiency, making the female as sensitive as males. Glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency is a very common condition. Globally, it has been recorded that it causes around 4,010 deaths per year, especially in 2013. 10% occurrence of this problem is seen in Africa and is prevalent among the Middle East population. Coming to the pathophysiology, glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase is an enzyme of pentose phosphate pathway or HMP shunt pathway. It is involved in the conversion of glucose 6-phosphate to 6-phosphogluconate. This reaction involves production of NADPH, which further helps in reduction of glutathione, an essential step in reducing the free radicals. In the absence or deficiency of enzyme glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase, there is no reduction of glutathione, leading to the accumulation of free radicals. These free radicals have an affinity for red blood cells as they are oxygen carriers, causing oxidative damage, which is called as oxidative stress, as a result of which the individual suffers from hemolytic anemia. The oxidative damage can be triggered or manifested by illness, drugs, diabetic ketoacidosis, neonatal jaundice, or consumption of food containing favism factors. All the reduced glutathione is exhausted and the cell is damaged by oxidants. Damaged red blood cells are phagocytized and removed in spleen from circulation. Treatment. It is generally tested if the patients from certain ethical group with family history to develop anemia with hemodialysis. There is no treatment as such. It is only prevented by avoiding exposure to the various triggering factors. Coming to the next anti-nutrient factor in pulse, that is goitrogens. Goitrogens present in food may be broadly grouped under the following heads: thiooxolidone derivatives. The active goitrogenic principle present in the Brassicaceae family have been identified as 1,5-vinyl 2-thiooxolidone. It is present in cabbage, turnip and Brussels fruits. Indosyl acetone nitrile. Indosyl acetone nitrile present in Basilica species have been shown to possess goitrogenic properties. Another sulfur containing compounds possessing strong goitrogenic properties have been identified as 1,2 diethenocyclopentane and 1,4 N3thione. Phenolic glycosides present in the red skin of groundnut have been shown to possess goitrogenic properties. Next comes letharism. Caesiridol also contains a toxic substances. This dal is grown in Madhya Pradesh. It was observed that during the drought conditions, it was the only dal grown and used as staple food. When this dal is consumed over a long time, paralysis of lower limbs occur in males. This is known as letharism. It is reported that when the intake of caesiridol is restricted to 30% of the total calorie intake, no adverse effects are observed. Therefore, it is important to ensure that the intake of this dal must be restricted to a maximum of 30% of the total calorie intake. Letharism is a crippling disease characterized by paralysis of the leg muscles occurring mostly in adults consuming large quantities of the seeds of L. sativus or other Lathyrus species over long periods. In India, the disease occurs in Madhya Pradesh, Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. The disease has also been reported to occur in Spain, Algeria and occasionally in certain parts of France and Italy where Lathyrus species are consumed by the people. Coming to the signs and symptoms, there are 4 stages of the development of disease in human beings. The first stage is characterized by weakness of the lower limbs, with spasticity of leg muscles so that the movement at the ankle and the knee joints are restricted and painful. In the second stage, flexion of the knee is more marked and there is a certain amount of inversion of the foot with tendency to walk on toes. In the third stage, the symptoms described above become more marked and the subject can walk only with the help of crutches or sticks. In the fourth stage, the knee becomes completely flexed and erect posture and walking becomes impossible. There is atrophy of the thigh and leg muscles. This table shows the various toxic factors present in Lathyrus and Vivica species. Coming to prevention, there are three possible approaches for the eradication of this disease. First, treatment of the seed by leaching out the toxic factors in hot water, both on home scale and factory scale. Education on the public on the dangers of consuming untreated Lathyrus sativus and the cultivation of other pulses in the place of Lathyrus sativus to overcome the problems. Well students, to summarize, in this module we have learnt about the various toxins present in pulses. Pulses, being the best source of vegetable protein, also provide high fiber, making it a complete food with all essential nutrients required for good health. Pulses should not be consumed raw by humans because they contain various anti-nutrient substances. Soaking the pulses before cooking is found to decrease the toxin levels considerably than direct cooking. Germination before raw consumption of pulses helps in reducing the various toxins. Pulses are recommended to be consumed frequently as they are highly suitable for dieting. Hence, as nutritionists and the students who are going to spread the nutrition knowledge in the community, we should have an in-depth knowledge about the structure, composition, nutritive value and methods of cooking and the ways and means to reduce the toxic content to get the maximum nutrients from pulses. Thank you.